Where at? Oh, fuck. I didn't know you were in Detroit.
called
You should.
Yeah, that's what I told you. I said I'm
Well, I thought you were just
downtown
like
Detroit.
proximity. I'm like in Detroit, not like,
No, I'm staying out here just to get away from everything and focus on the cut.
where are you at? What hotel?
Um, fuck. It's like a not Airbnb, but like it's like a condo that I don't know. I'm right
Fuck,
like right downtown.
we should have just brought the damn green screen that we aren't using to Greektown, and we could have just rolled some die. Got I know you're
Dude,
trying
I'm
to get
right
away from
there.
everything, but cool. Well, we're gonna we don't really like script things. We just kind of like free roll it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna start out. I'm gonna tell our story, and then we'll get into your story. The first one would be like your UFC story, like your path, how you found out about, if you're willing to do that, right? Are you allowed to
Yeah, dude.
discuss like who you think would
Sure.
win a fight?
Yeah.
Is there like a
Yeah.
conflict? Okay, fuck yeah. All right, cool. Because we taped the show prior. We have our picks. We want you to bless them. So we'll get right
Maybe
into it.
settle some arguments.
All right.
Oh man.
Are we?
Don't take any financial advice though. Can I throw that out there?
Yeah, we for
Bet
sure.
your bank account on Vince's picks.
Take your mortgage payment. Put it on these picks. Okay. Are we recording? Or?
Yeah, and I'm Dave, by the way. I think we came to your fight last time when you were in Wyandotte, but I don't know if we ever got to really
Oh, nice.
meet. So
Yeah.
nice to meet you, man.
Awesome, man. Nice to.
That was
see
a
you
quick
and meet
fight.
you.
All right, well then we are back live. Then I guess we are recording live. We have learned in our groins about this one. We've teased this many times about having Vince on the show. We actually our first. I told you we pre-taped this. We did take an over under whether or not we were going to have the vanilla tipped hair. And we have it. We do have it. I thought that was an
Well,
LA
it's looking
thing.
good.
We are fighting in Michigan this weekend, but it wasn't an LA thing. He's bringing it here. And the first thing
I live
is
in Sacramento, which is north. But go on.
well, just like everyone says Detroit, we say LA for everything in California. I am looking at your Tapology. You do have a good head of lettuce. Why is your Tapology picture have a hat on? That's the first thing.
I don't know. They don't let me choose those. It's random.
Well, we got to call our connections up there. We got to let them know. Listen, this guy's got a good head of lettuce. It's frosted tipped right now.
Picture's also like 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. That's a good one. So we do have Vince on the show. Can you pull him up so I can see him? I feel like I still
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
see him.
Yeah, he's fighting on Total Warrior Combat, Unfinished Business, Saturday night.
And we are sponsoring Vince. And we did ask for the crotch-toral region, penal region, if you will, for Whammy Cage MMA. I think
XL Cup and our faces.
XL Cup. We are going to need that. If you know Vince, that's a baby seal down there.
Fuck yeah.
And then the gloves so that ramen noodles or whoever you're fighting sees it when you knock his ass out. We will get into that in a moment. But, first I wanted to kind of tell our story. Vince and me, we go back. I did teach him how to drink. Cheers to you. I'm sure you're not drinking right now, but I am.
That's true.
I don't have a fight
2
coming
years,
up.
2 years sober, actually.
Congratulations.
2 years
But-
sober. No one likes a quitter.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, it's weird. It's not something I planned to do. It just kind of happened, and
Well-
that's where I'm at right now.
Well, when you get back on the wagon, let me know. I'll teach you the bad habits. But 2 years sober, that's impressive. What was the reason for that? Just fighting in general, or just didn't?
No, right after brain surgery, I came home. I'm not sure if I think I did. No, did I see you? I think I might have visited you.
You came
I'm
to
not
my
sure,
yeah. I think
but-
you came to my house. You and your wife.
But I just got so drunk that I don't know, man. It was just I was so tired of just always like I'm you know me. I can't just drink lightly, and I can't drink. If I'm gonna drink to finish the job. So it was something I felt like I needed to see if I could take a break from, and then a break just led it to staying off for this long.
Probably a good idea. I don't know. I don't remember if it was when we met. If it was my junior year and your freshman. You came to West when you were a freshman, right? Or were you
Yeah.
a sophomore? Okay. So it was wrestling. Is how we met. It was the first day of wrestling practice. And Vince at the time, for the people that didn't know, he was more round, if you will, than he is now. What did you even wrestle at? Like 180?
No, I was my freshman year. I was like 52 or.
He's
160
patting
or
that.
something.
He wrestled whatever it was. Anyhow, Vince was just this funny guy, and I think for whatever reason, like after practice, which this is ill advised if you're a high school wrestler, you shouldn't do this, but one day we just decided we were going to go out, and I partied with him. He did have tattoos at the time. It was always the joke, we need to get more tattoos. And he said, yeah, we'll find a place. And, from there, like you said, we would put him away. One of my most notable wrestling practices, we actually talk about Mike Perry, too. You remember Mike Perry? We were sitting, I remember we were all sitting, we were on the mat, and Noak, do you remember this? Noak was our wrestling coach, for frame of reference to the people out there. And he goes, Vince, you were a little bit like Mike Perry at the time. You were like a loose cannon. You had the YouTube thing going around about you fighting that kid out in Waterford and shit. And Mike Perry was obviously allegedly, and it didn't happen. But maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know. And Mike Perry was also this other loose cannon. They were kind of like two characters, and Noak was like, these are like my sons. And Mike Perry steps up and he's like, Noak, I take offense to that. And like Vince at the time, like he would wear his emotions on his sleeve, and it's like, just imagine a bunch of people just sitting in a room. This is something you probably have to be there for. And he's like, I'm nothing like Vince. That's not my brother. And Vince he's like, you'd think Vince turns around, he's like a woman just turned his ass down or something. Like, what the fuck's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Are you friends with Mike Perry now still? I know that he came to your camp a couple of times. Did he remember the old days?
Yeah, he came out a little bit. I took him out. He came out. We went to Uriah's. I can't remember what we did. He was in town for something. Before that, before or after that? No, before that, he had recently he was trying to get into the UFC and asked if I had any connections, and I was just like, I don't really know. At the time, he didn't have a very big record. He was like 5-0, and I think I connected him with somebody. Within like 2 weeks, he got called to the UFC, so he didn't really even need me. But I don't talk to him as much anymore. I comment on his stuff here and there.
He scored the Conor card, didn't he? Was on the pay-per-view for the Conor McGregor Nate Diaz 2 card, if I'm not mistaken.
He was on some pretty big cards.
Yeah, that was a big card. Well, I'll give you the credit for it. Did you peel off any? You didn't get to peel off any royalties from that signing?
What's that?
From getting him on that card?
Oh no, no.
Well, no. That's good then. Well, I want to kind of give you the floor here, because your story is, it's taken waves. I know that you've said this maybe at nauseum for your own self, but for people that don't maybe know you, obviously the TUF House, we're going to get into that in a minute, but your journey to the UFC, and then we kind of alluded to the surgery. Just kind of walk us through how that went and what that was like, and what your journey is and where we're going now, even with it.
I moved from Michigan in 2011, I think. I started fighting, in high school, as you remember, and I probably would have made it to the UFC a lot sooner had I quit drinking a lot sooner. But again, as you know, when I moved to Sacramento, I spent a lot of time just trying to grow up and raise myself. So a lot of silly situations and fights that kind of slowed me down over the years. And when I finally did get the call up to the UFC, which was in 2019, they do mandatory brain scans. And I think this is a newer one because I haven't ever had this one done, but they shoot dye in your arm, and the dye goes up to your brain and lights up your brain kind of like a Christmas tree in a sense. And my brain didn't light up. In fact, it was just like the right side just, shows all the blood vessels on that side, and on the left side, it just goes and it shuts off completely. And I remember looking at the doctor just being like, hey man, that's not my scan. Like, I don't know. I went to a shady hospital. Like, that thing is not my, look at me, I'm fine. He's like, yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, you should probably be, dead or something if this were your scan. I was like, see, so we agree. And he scheduled me another scan within an hour. Went and got the scan, came back, it was the same thing. And he's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't want to say too much because it doesn't look good. And I was like, oh, fuck. And so, they pulled me the day before the fight, and I had to go see a bunch of specialists, and no one really wanted to say anything to me for the first 6 or 7, 8 visits because it was really serious, and they didn't know they didn't want to be the ones to tell me that
Like this was fatal type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, to the degree it is. So I have a brain disease. It's called moya moya, and that's how they found out. It's a progressive disease that there's no cure for it. I still have the disease. Basically it's where the blood vessels in your brain begin to narrow over time, depending on how progressive it is. And on the left side of my brain, it's progressed to where it's like grown close. So now I have the double, the two bypasses right there. But yeah, so after, I had to go to Stanford I thought it was in my best interest to go to Stanford to see someone who specialized in, not just this disease, but this operation, and, see if there was still an opportunity to fight. Cause I spent basically my entire life trying to get that opportunity, and in a lot of ways fighting saved my life. Had I not fought, I probably would have had a stroke a lot sooner. Cause that's what I'm at risk for. I'm at risk for having, a stroke. And had I not fought or probably even wrestled or not lived a life of like exercise, I probably would have, had a stroke or suffered the consequences from a stroke very earlier in my life. And by the time I found Dr. Steinberg at Stanford, he was reckoned I would probably have a major stroke by my birthday, which is in like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months at the time, 4 months. So it definitely saved my life. And, he said, given a good recovery, he said it's possible I could fight again. So that's the other reason I went home to Michigan. It was like I had surgery on November 15th, or I had it on the 13th, and I woke up the 15th. It was like a 20-hour surgery, or it was like a 15-hour surgery or something, but the days overlapped. And then so when I woke up and I got out, I went back home for Thanksgiving, partied my ass off, tested out the new brain. It works. And
got to burn those brain cells.
Yeah, well, he said it was going to come down to a good recovery, whether I can compete or not. So that was the first thing. I wanted to knock this 6-month recovery, this recovery out of the park before, and then I would allow myself to drink again. Depending. I just wanted to give everything I got and to see if I could be cleared to compete. So that comes around. I get cleared within, close to 6 months. Then, it was right back to hit my manager up and seeing how we could schedule a fight. And unfortunately, I think they wanted to see me. I don't think they didn't want to bring me back right away. They didn't cut me, but they didn't bring me back to the UFC. So they put me on the Contender, and I had a tough fight on the Contender, a fight that I probably shouldn't have took. But again, my whole career has just been me trying to take every opportunity that comes my way. I took a fight outside of my weight class, and I took it on 10 days notice. There's no excuses, but what I really was aiming to do was to compete within a year of brain surgery. So I think the fight was November 4th. So it was only like 10 days or so before me being a 1-year anniversary from brain surgery. So regardless of the fight, I just wanted to fight before that date. And then that happened, and then Ultimate Fighter.
I mean, many accomplishment nonetheless. Now, what was the I never actually got this from you either, so I'm going to learn like firsthand here. What did the surgery do? Like, what was like the solve as far as like from that's concerned?
So you got your carotid arteries, right? They go up, and they actually crisscross. So your right actually goes to your left, and whatever. Mm-hmm. Mine on the left up here was occluded, which means it was 100% closed when they found it. Basically what they do is they take a blood vessel from the outside of your head, and they remove your skull, and they put it on the inside of your they like backload it like to the damaged blood vessel, or they lay it over, which is called an indirect bypass, and they put your skull back over top of it. So you got blood vessels coming from outside to inside, and then the blood vessel that is laid over the brain over time kind of grows into the brain, from my understanding, sort of like a tree growing roots. So over time, theoretically, the bypass is supposed to get stronger.
Okay. And now fighting doesn't. I'm not gonna obviously I'm not gonna say it helps it, obviously, no, sure. But like it doesn't necessarily hurt it by any means after brain surgery of that magnitude.
From everything that I know and as much research and stuff as I've done myself and talking to him, it's not impact related. So like no amount of force is going to be able to damage that side of my brain, unless like it would take a
Unless it would
sledgehammer,
have damaged it
right?
otherwise, type of thing.
Yeah, and it would have damaged the same. It would have damaged the right side of my brain equally. So it's not at risk for contact, and then basically being choked. Their biggest concern was making sure that if the pathway was blocked, that there was blood. So before the surgery, if the pathway was blocked, that means there's no way to get. It was compensating, and they didn't know how. Meaning, so if it were blocked for even a second, they wouldn't know how the that side of the brain would get blood flow. They where would it come from? They wouldn't know. It would have to compensate, and then by that time it'd be too far gone because it's occluded, meaning that the right side would try, but there was no means to it. So now that there's a bypass, that means there's two other sources, putting blood to that side of the brain, meaning theoretically there's more blood. There's more than enough now.
Well, shout out to Nowak for teach you how to wrestle so we didn't have to deal with any chokes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, that's crazy. I could, I just elbow the mic. I'm getting ready for fight week here. But no, that's great. I could not imagine being the doctor and saying, so when can I fight again after 15 hours of brain surgery?
Yeah, different mentality, man. That's crazy.
That's next level.
Hey, you said that it took 8 visits for them to even kind of give you a heads up on what was going on. What were you going through for 8 trips to the hospital, not knowing after you saw that scan like that? I mean, was that just torture or what?
Looking back now, I think I was just highly optimistic and just had this unbelievably amount of belief that everything was going to work out, because thinking about it now, it would have been so easy just to been dude, there's no way I'm ever going to fight. But I just didn't believe that at the time. And I was looking for other fighters that might have done this, or I was looking for all the options. I was are you even qualified to tell me that I can't fight? You probably haven't played a sport a day in your life. There's no way you're going to tell me I can't fight. So I kept, I kept searching. I just kept optimistic as I could be until I found someone that could really speak to this problem. Because most of the doctors couldn't speak to the disease; they could just speak to the readings of the scan. He's someone would be just this is not fucking good. I don't know what to say. You're a candidate for emergency brain surgery. We could put you in today. And I was just well, I'm good right now, but I wanted to make sure.
Fuck you! I want a second opinion.
Dude, that's insane.
Dude, I had 3 or 4 of them. Yeah. So.
Hey, listen, man, that's crazy.
I just stayed super optimistic. I don't know what it was. I just did.
Hey, well, like you said, good does come from bad. It's funny this is the transition to the Ultimate Fighter piece. When I first found out, I told my wife, I'm and just for the backstory on Vince, he's you are built for television. You are first, you got the good head of lettuce, you got the smile. Your mom's an hygienist, so that probably
is
comes.
That's
what that is.
Come from?
Yeah, but he's got that personality, and you were perfect for the show. And we obviously we had this thing every night we tape our show. We tape it on Tuesday nights. Mm-hmm. Here we are, Tuesday night, and we would watch the show after I would wait because I think it aired on Monday nights, right? We wouldn't watch it. We'd watch it on Tuesday nights. I'd stay off your social media. You weren't even posting anything anyway, but we would watch it, and it's it just would show out there you have a career in that for sure. And I was man, this was destiny. All the things that had happened, you getting that was so perfect for you, because you do have that kind of outlandish you're not I don't want to put a label on fighters, but you're not that typical person. You're you're an outgoing guy. You're an we talked about you're a partier, but there's a social there's a social skill with that works in front of a fucking camera. We don't just have anybody on the show.
It works in the cage and on the mic. I like it.
But talk us a little bit through how does that how do you get called for the show? How did that go out? What was the experience like, man?
Being on the show was probably, I dreaded it at first just because I was upset that I had to keep doing all these other things to try and get back in the UFC. But it turned out to be one of the coolest experiences of my life. it's something that I couldn't imagine doing or it being that hard, but it turned out to just be such a learning experience and learning so much about myself, who I am as an athlete, as a person, and just kind of a reality check for, what am I in here and what am I doing all this for and stuff. So every day, we didn't have our phones, kind of forces you to open up to the other guys in the house. And, it was interesting. It was a part of that was cool, but part of that was, pretty wild is my wife was pregnant at the time. And, so it was it was probably one of the coolest things I've ever done. And, I'm super grateful for the opportunity. It's frustrating to go out the way I did. I'm okay to lose. I don't mind losing if I lose to the better fighter. And it just, in my opinion,
but an injury
is yeah, it's difficult to go out like that because, I put a lot of effort and a lot of sacrifice into that, those to be there and for that performance. And it just didn't go out that way. If I was going to go out, I'd rather go out on my shield. And, and he mentioned something about him having a knee injury, but like our knee injuries weren't the same. My knee was literally fucking stuck. Like I couldn't stand up if I wanted to. Like it's one thing, like if I walked into that show with bad knees and I don't know, it's behind me now, but the show was an amazing experience and I'm stoked on it, and I'm still friends with a lot of the guys on the show, and I still talk to the producers, and it's awesome, man.
That was crazy, and I remember just a surreal moment. Like I work out in the mornings at the time I was going into work, and I remember they had like this big. It was the first time that you fought your win, and they had this big screen. Like there's like a big screen. ESPN was on, and in the corner it was you and your opponent at the time, like in the corner of the screen on ESPN. And I just like I can't help but thinking like we were big in the UFC even when we were in high school. We'd watch. I think at the time it was like Shamrock versus Tito airing when
like
we were on the wrestling and Chuck Liddell and shit when we were like in high school and we were watching it. It's like we would like worship this show, and now here's my buddy in the corner of this fucking screen while I'm sitting here, just a beer away, just pumping some iron, whatever it is, you know what I mean? But like it was a surreal moment, and like honestly, man, win, lose, indifferent, whatever it is, you still made it there. And that's more than a lot of people can say. And I think the exposure from the show, how many people in the UFC you never know about? You know what I mean? They fight on a card, they do this, they're in and out, they lost. We actually, I actually want you to bless some picks. There's some people that I wonder why are still employed by the UFC with their records. But in any case, there's no shame in it. The fact that you were there on the show, a presence, the friends that you make. I mean, think about your staple. You got your stable. You have Uriah, you've done great things. He was best man in your wedding, the whole nine with that and all the things that you've made from there. Now you got Ortega.
You should have been there.
Yeah, it should have been there. Different paths, man. Different paths.
Yeah, that's all good.
One could only wonder. There's only room for 2 UFC fighters from the Lapeer West wrestling team. But it's just crazy, man. You should be really proud of yourself, regardless of where your route goes. But I'm still, we're obviously rooting for you. We're going to get you back to the UFC.
You're about to hit your prime, and I mean, look at all the stuff you already accomplished and put behind you, man. This is going to be exciting next few years.
It's interesting because very few people, they think they see the brain surgery and they think that's probably like the hardest path of my career. While it has been incredibly hard, it's been incredibly eye-opening. But my path before that, between being in Lapeer and the MIPs and just,
Did you get an MIP for chewing tobacco?
Yeah.
Okay. That was in his car.
Yeah. In Lapeer?
Yeah.
I thought they handed that out at the high school.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah. But and it's interesting because I think like a lot of people just assume that's like that part is my story, and it's where I've overcame a lot and could have quit many times. You know what I mean? It's been truly difficult to just continue to keep fighting for something that only I see sometimes. And just knowing where I came from. I mean, with my dad, and I know a little bit of it, but I remember back when I was growing up, like between you and Kranick and some of the guys were like the only stable relationships I really ever had, which was, that speaks for itself. I was in Saginaw every weekend, when I was in high school.
I remember we pranked I made the fucking mistake of you told me to prank phone call your dad. This motherfucker called me 4,500 times in one night. You do the math on that. I don't even know if it's possible.
That's a real number?
I was like, Vince, what the fuck did I just do? I'm telling you, my phone went dead on the damn charger.
My dad was ready to fight you.
Yeah, he was coming to Saginaw too to party.
Oh man, I forgot about that. That is so funny. He's vicious when it gets to the phone, man.
Oh. I got hoodwinked on that one, so they say. But live and learn, man. Let's talk about your opponent here. I've been calling him Ramen Noodles. I don't know why. Is his last name okay?
don't say that.
Ramen. Well, it's because of the last name. Usama Ramen. Let's talk about this guy.
Looks like a Detroit guy.
Local. I went through about four different opponents. Getting the opponent's been very, very difficult for me, and I was in between two shows. There's a show in Sacramento that's going on next week, and there's a show for TWC this week. And TWC's always been good to me. I'm always looking for an opportunity to come home. And it's just been difficult. Neither show was having, any success finding me a fight. Either guys want, a lot more time to prepare for me, or they want to get paid more. And I agree. I want to get paid. I'd want to get paid more to fight me too. So it's just been difficult finding a fight. And after about 3 or 4 guys falling out for this show, it's like, PD, just got to find me somebody, man. I'm selling too many tickets. So, he found me this guy. This guy just show up. He's fought some tough guys. He's got a lot of fights. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to come out and swing. So
stepping up to you got to think you're to step up and fight a guy with your kind of clout.
Yeah, this takes some serious stuff.
You got Ortega in your back corner. You got Faber in your back corner. You got coming off the TUF House. You got all these different things. Mike Perry, that damn right. Stuart Allen. There's a lot. There's a lot going for you. I mean, that's
you want a corner?
Yeah, throw me in there, buddy. I got you. I'll be your cut man. But
we should see if Noak wants to come.
He's coming. I'm gonna fucking call his bitch ass. We're gonna get his ass out there. But hopefully he watches the show. Anyhow, I think though, I mean, for real though, the guy to step up and do this, that means something. That's a testament to him. Obviously, this guy's, he's ready to bang, and I'm happy that, you were able to find somebody and come put on a show for us here locally. We're going to be obviously in full force. I might run out there Conor McGregor style. I'm just kidding. I won't actually do that, Vince.
I applied for ring man. I didn't hear anything back.
Yeah. They weren't hiring ring men, apparently. We have our lawyer on the sexist clause at this point in time, but we're working on it. But all those things aside, man, from the business sense, real talk, this is all going to have some residual, whether it be where you go, post-fighting career, whatever it is you want to do. You've got something here, and you're sticking to it. And that speaks a lot to you and who you are as a person. And I know you're going to be just fine. You're going to, we're going to get, regardless of the result of this fight, even though we know you're going to win, because you're a badass. But, what's next for you? Where are you looking to go next after this?
A lot of what I'm understanding is the reason why it wasn't picked up after the show was because the show, those fights are considered exhibition. So in my previous fight was the contender, which is a loss. So, according to what I'm told is I need to come off a win. So I wish if I had known sooner, I would have probably tried to get on a card, right after the show, which ended in May, but they didn't let any of us know. And to protect the integrity of the show, I couldn't really say that I was looking for a fight without telling people, the results of the show. So they didn't say anything to us. And yeah, and I kind of was under the assumption that I was in. So, but it turns out they want me to, do something more, which hopefully this is it, or just whatever they need. I'll do.
You have to think though, with COVID, the way that it's rapid right now, like they're gonna, especially if Dana stays in Vegas. I mean, he's gonna have to backfill fights every single week. I mean, we literally mid-show there was a fallout in the. Speaking of gainfully employed, not winning fighter, Sam Alvey. He's now fighting Brendan Allen. I mean, there was a fallout literally just today, Tuesday, which is less than a week from fight day.
Yeah, it's pretty common. I mean, that's how I first got called up. Was someone fell out, and I just stepped up. So it's pretty common.
I would just stay. I mean, listen, now I'm giving you fucking advice, but I would
Oh,
just stay ready. I would just shack up over there in Vegas and stay, like, get this win. Now you got the win. That's step one, right? Stay in Vegas and stay ready and let Dana know, dude, I'm ready. Fucking call me. I'll go to the Apex.
They know.
You know?
They know.
I'll have the blonde fucking hair. I'll have the green hair. What fucking color hair you need? I got good lettuce. And we're going to call these assholes at Tapology. We're going to get a different picture on here.
Hey, with you getting that first call up to the UFC and then being on the Contender Series and then the TUF House, now do you have a relationship with someone at the UFC that's like kind of guiding you into those things, or is it kind of just happenstance?
Yeah, I mean, my manager is Iridium, which is Jason House, and they have a great relationship with the matchmakers and stuff, and I've always been in contact. I've been in contact with those guys before even I got signed the first time. I've been called up, before that. I was just way too fat to take the fight, and that was like one of my first wake up calls, and it was really, really unsettling or upset. It was actually to fight Corey Sandhagen.
No way.
You're shitting me.
Yeah, that was my first call up.
Just stay away from the knee. One trick
pony.
I
was I don't know how heavy I was, but I was big. And it was like, hey, can you make this in a week? And I was like, no, I couldn't even lie about it. He's like, bro, what are you doing? I need you close to your weight. And I was like, and that's ever since then. But that was like 5 years ago.
Well, man,
sounds like a learning experience. And that 2 years of sobriety's probably going to help you with the keeping that weight off a little bit as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude, it's helped for sure. I've never been a good drinker.
Well, maybe we'll get you back into it after the win. I don't know. But anyhow, hey. we're gonna end this here with you blessing our picks from the show. And I'm just going to run down it. Feel free to discuss as much as you want, because this is all about you, my big dog. We're going to start off with the Broken Condom Bowl here. We have Alexis Davis versus Julia Strolarenko. Anyhow, Dave picked Julia Gia. Do you even know the names of these people? I'm probably not doing it a justice. Alexis Davis, I know, but who would you take in this one?
You talking about the women's bantamweight?
Yes, I am. That one. I couldn't even say the name. That's how much I know about it.
They're
all coming off of all losses in the UFC.
Huh. Let's see. Any of them American?
I think we have Canada and Canada. That's close to America. Hey, we're from Detroit. You're about 5 minutes from Canada, where you are right now.
All right, I'm gonna go with Julie Gia.
Okay, so we did get a blessing on Dave's pick.
Oh, there we go.
We now have Marquez versus Alameda. We went with Alameda on this one.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I'm liking Alameda with this one too.
Yeah, the backstory is Marquez has one move. It's called the backpack. He just jumps on your back. All right, now this is one we're on opposites on, so I am curious which one you're going to bless. We have Phil Rowe versus Witt. Dave went the Witt side, which is the underdog side. I went the Rowe side.
Yeah, I would definitely go with Phil Rowe on that one.
Phil Rowe.
Given that he's been in the winning circle more.
All right, so now we have this guy I really like. We were both on the same. I think he's a big up-and-comer. Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Carlston Harris. Two up-and-comers. I thought that the UFC should have maybe waited a minute on having these two go at each other. Who are you thinking on this one?
He's undefeated. I don't know, man. I mean, you got to go with the guy. I don't know much about either of them, to be honest, but 27. Was it Shavkat?
Yeah, we got to get a Britannica out for some of the names on these fight nights. But
you have to listen to our media pronunciation.
Yeah, you got to do that. You really do.
I think he looks the part.
There we go.
I don't know much about.
I'm going to take that as a blessing. We were on the same side there.
He's a pretty heavy favorite.
We're going to take that as a win. He's a heavy favorite. We're north of 200 on that one. Okay, so this one here is Nate Diaz's boy, Nick Maximoff versus Punahele. Punahele.
The co-main.
Did I say that right?
Sure.
Where's the Britannia?
Nick Maxwell.
No, the guy that we are on the same side on is a plus 160, so he is not the favorite. Nate Diaz's protege, if you will, is not the favorite here.
What's his record inside the UFC?
Inside the UFC.
7-0.
He's 1-0
Oh,
in
1
the
in the
UFC,
UFC.
and he got a win on the Contender Series.
No professional losses.
Got the co-main event
He got the
off
co-main.
of one fight.
He's 24
Isn't that
as
something?
well. He's a young dude.
6 feet. I'm gonna go with Punahele.
Okay, we're going. He's not blessing this pick, so we're gonna have to switch that. I'm gonna call DraftKings and
They like to give
recant my money back. Yeah. We should have did this one first and then tape our show. All right, and then okay, this one I'm actually really interested in. In fact, we're gonna actually save this one for last. I'm gonna go with the main event, then I'm gonna save the one that I really want to ask you about last. And I swear to God, I'm gonna hammer whatever the fuck you say. But before we do that, we got Strickland versus Jack Hermansson. Me and Dave are on opposite ends on this one. I'm on the Strickland side. He's on the Hermansson side. Strickland?
Strickland for sure. Yeah.
Bless my
All
pick.
right, man. I'm on the wrong side of a few of these. I feel like
looks like you're making a phone call to DraftKings as well. Now, these two you are familiar with. One was on your team, so I don't know if there's a conflict of interest, if you're all friends or how that worked. It seemed like a pretty friendly group of people. We have Battle versus Trayshawn Gore, which Gore, I believe, was on your team. Who are we going with here? I don't want to make waves, or maybe you could give us some commentary on both these guys.
Dude, I was on the show with both of them, and a lot of you would love to just speak more candid and openly about it. My experience with both of them. Brian Battle was great. He was a character to be around. Trayshawn himself was quite the character himself. Oh man,
these two were supposed to
that's
originally
a tough fight. That's on the regional scene, or they were supposed to originally fight in on the finale. Trayshawn got hurt, but they were supposed to fight outside of that, I believe.
Oh, so
they were
this
supposed
is
to fight on the
third
regional
time they've been
circuit.
scheduled.
Ooh, that's dicey. We didn't even know that
yeah.
information. This is why it's good to have you. You're welcome on any show, by the way.
So, from everything, Brian Battle has a lot more experienced and he's more seasoned, and he's just got more skill in my opinion. Trayshawn is one of the more athletic types that's more gifted in a sense. Not saying he's not, talented in other areas, but he's very athletically gifted in like very simple things to get the job for him. Good jab, good low kick. He can break people with that. I think his downfall might be a wrestler, someone that can submit him. With Brian Battle just having more tools, it could be a tough day. It just depends, man. It really depends if Trayshawn can kind of enforce that, the jab that
fight the fight he wants to fight, really. It's interesting.
Brian.
Go. No, you please. No, you go.
Brian he has the ability to kind of take the fight in many areas. Like if the stand-up's working for him, he can keep it there. If he needs to take you down, he can surely put you on the cage and find a way to get you down. He's had his battles, like he's fought in tough guys that hit really hard. So it's kind of like he's been a lot of places. Trayshawn, it's hard to say because he hasn't had too many fights. His toughest opponents were the fights on the show. I thought Gil was probably his toughest fight, and he put him away pretty, dropped him. But again, it was still a good fight. I think up until that, it's just I don't know. I think Trayshawn.
The thing is
still yet to see. He's still being tested. 4-0. It's hard to see too much from a guy like that. He hasn't been in any.
And that was our angle here. We thought that Battle, so we both went on the Battle side, and we were like, Battle does have double the fights, and albeit it's like 8 versus 4 or whatever the case may be, but that's a big 4 fights, and one of which being in the actual UFC and coming off an injury. And the interesting thing too was the line. They gave Battle's coming in as an underdog, just so you know, which I found that to be a little bit strange or a head scratcher, if you will.
The guy wins the show and comes in as an underdog.
Yeah, and versus a guy that he has more experience than and more tools in his belt. So sign Vegas. Maybe they're begging us to take that side. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. We reluctantly did both take the battle side. We were like, I don't know, well, we're going to see what Vince has to say. I don't know if there's that team camaraderie or if anyone even gives a shit or if anyone's ever going to even, they might not even watch the show. We have had UFC fighters comment on the show, though, which is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
But
high-quality entertainment.
Hopefully good stuff.
We do appreciate it. We know you probably got to get to sleep. It's 10:19. We need that beauty sleep. We appreciate you coming on the show. I can't wait to see you Saturday, buddy. I'll be there. Please like, subscribe. We're going to ask that you share this as well, if you don't mind. But in any case, we'll have this probably edited and posted by Wednesday. So happy to see you out there, my friends. Please like, subscribe. Vince Murdock fighting this Saturday.
Yeah, thanks, Vince.
Get to see it here. Journey to the UFC. We're going to see it through, my friend.
All right, I'll see you guys.
Thanks, Vince.